This is a tutorial on how to solve a 2x2 using a beginner's method. This method is very easy and it requires only a few algorithms, but you won't get very fast with it. I think if you practiced a lot, you could maybe get an average of 10 seconds with it, which isn't very good, but it's good if you just want to know how to solve a 2x2 without having to use a 3x3 method, which you can do this with, but it's not the best. In this video, I'm going to assume that you already know how to solve a 3x3, and therefore you already know the notation and what an algorithm is and such. You should also have been solving Rubik's Cubes for a little bit now, so you can do some stuff more intuitively than a normal person could. So, let's scramble it. And we can start. The first step is to get this first layer where all of the corners are solved. You can do this intuitively, or you can do this using the algorithms that you use for solving the corners and the first layer on a 3x3. I do it intuitively because it's faster that way, but some of the newer cubers that are less experienced may need to use the algorithms, so that's fine. Just to give some examples for intuitive solving of the first layer, I'll do a couple. Just to give some examples for the intuitive first layer, I'll do a couple. This block's already solved. You can see that piece there, and that piece there. And it's solved. Once again, we have this block right here solved. I don't do that on purpose, it just happens. And so I see this piece here and this piece here. And it's solved. Some of you may say that I set up these easy cases on purpose, but if you are color neutral, you can usually look around the cube and find some easier spots to do it than you could if you weren't color neutral. Now here I have no blocks set up, so I have to do it from scratch. And it's solved. Once again, I have no blocks solved. And there's the first layer. Just mess around with it. You can get it eventually, I'm sure. So once you get to the last layer, your job is to orient it. Now there are several ways to do this. The first way is the easiest, but it can mess up a lot. You can manually orient them all with the commutator, turn it, and then undo that, and there, it's oriented. However, if you know the Friedrich method, you can use OLL algorithms to do this. There are some algorithms that can be used specifically for the 2x2 that are not included in OLL that'll make it faster, but for the beginner's method, you can just use some simple OLL algorithms. For this case, you would simply use Soon, and it's oriented. And now, obviously, you'd use the other version of Soon, and it's oriented. Right here, you could use OLL23, but since you have no edges to worry about, you would probably use OLL45 or OLL43. And it's oriented. For this case, you use OLL21. And it's solved. For this case, you could use OLL22. However, you could also use OLL48. And it's solved. For this case, you could use OLL 24, however you could also use OLL 33. For this case, you could use OLL 25, however you could also use the opposite of OLL 33. Another option you could use to get the top layer oriented is to just use soon in different areas. No matter what position the last layer is in, you can always use variations of soon to fix it. Soon is basically one of the 4 algorithms down here, and depending on where you use them, you can orient the last layer no matter what position it's in. If you have a case like this, where 2 pieces are misoriented, then you use the algorithm, the first soon, in a position where the piece that's right here is facing to the right. And then you use soon when it's meant to be used. If you have a case where 4 pieces are misoriented, then you'll use the first soon in a position where this piece right here is facing to the front. And then you use it where it's supposed to be used. And it's solved. So now you're left with permuting the last layer. And for this you just need 2 simple algorithms, or you just need 1 and you can just use it twice sometimes. When these 2 pieces are swapped, you use this algorithm. There, it's solved. When you have a situation where 2 across from each other are swapped, you can do 2 things. You can use the algorithm I just gave you once, and then use it again. Or you can use this algorithm. And it'll be solved. I plan to soon put up tutorials for the intermediate methods on how to solve a 2x2, which are basically Guillemot, I don't know how to pronounce it, Ortega, and LBL. The advanced or expert ones are e.g. Stern, Sun, and Ofota. But those require a lot of algorithms, and you should only consider using it for the 2x2 if you love it. And you definitely should not consider using them if you have been cubing for less than a year.